I'm going live now. All right. And somebody at the top there to be admitted. All right. Wonderful. Wonderful. We are getting there. We're getting there. All right. Can I hear it from those who are online or on our Zoom? Are you ready for this evening's presentation?
We're ready. We're ready.
Anybody? Say something. Let me know you're hearing us.
We're ready talking. You're not hearing us?
All right. Awesome. That's the volume. Yes. Yes. This camera right there. Yes. I believe that we're ahead of time, so we need to, beyond.
Pausing.
And dealing with the challenges as well that comes along with technology. But this evening, I'm very happy, as I've said earlier, to have my friend and my financial advisor with me and his mom. She's here. You might hear from her a little bit later. I don't know what the plan is, but we are delighted to have it about helping, especially the Black community, but all
Hey, Sister Pat, they're still having technical difficulties?
Yes, it looks that way because I'm not hearing anything. And I wasn't hearing on YouTube. I switched to YouTube, still wasn't hearing there. But it looks like the two platforms are maybe having a interference with each other.
Yeah, okay.
We're coming. We're almost there. We're just stabilizing the internet.
Okay.
And then we're going to be back on.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
We might have to reset the internet, if anything.
Okay.
Yeah, plug this into this.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have to plug one of. Okay, folks, we are back again. I am so sorry for that little glitch that we had a while ago. We had some technical internet problem, but I'm so happy for those who are still online. I don't know what's happening, but we are going full speed ahead. I think we still have everybody connected there, so we're not going to waste any more time. We're just going to go full speed ahead. In fact, I'm going to kind of spare the introduction a little bit until maybe afterwards, because we are already way into our time. We're almost 7 o'clock and we planned it to start at 7:30. So my apologies again. And we are, again, very delighted to have Mr. Omar Stevenson, a very well-rounded individual. He almost make it to the Canadian soccer team. I'm just putting it that way. But he's a good soccer player, and he's also a professional financial advisor. And he has helped many persons, and he's also passionate about helping the Black community in specifically, and people in general. I'm going to give Omar an opportunity to just share with you whatever else you'd like to have you know about him. As I said, I'll give you a better introduction at the end of it, just to ensure that we get into what he wants, what he will be sharing with us this evening. So without any further ado, I'm going to ask you to make welcome Mr. Omar Stevenson and enjoy the rest of the presentation. Sir, we are glad to have you. Thank you very much for coming. I know we've been having this discussion for a long time, and I've been hoping to have you here, and you've always open anytime I'm ready. You are always open to coming. And I know whatever you have to share for us is very valuable and important for us to hear. So I know you're not going to be able to share everything, but as you give us that general overview, I'm sure those online will have their questions that they will ask. And of course, we will continue to provide a forum for them to learn and grow financially. So thank you everyone again for coming on. Those on YouTube, share the link. Make sure you invite somebody to be a part of this discussion. It's going to be good. Thank you very much. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Pastor. And I hope you guys could hear me properly. I don't know where to look. I think I need to look here.
Yes.
But anyways, you know, I met Pastor a couple years ago through actually, you know, I know this gentleman. His name is Winston.
Yes.
And Winston is a business partner of mine. And Winston introduced me to this gentleman called Carl. And Carl as a gentleman that's going into his retirement, and it's needed to know how we could retire comfortably and how we could get some stuff to make sure that he always have money in his retirement. So I met with Carl and I was able to set up his retirement planning. Mm-hmm. And then Carl says, you know, why don't you talk to my pastor? So that's how I get to meet Pastor Blake. I was referred to Pastor Blake from a gentleman called Carl Evans. So I got to thank all the people that caused us to meet.
Yes, sir.
And, and then we sat down together, and I make sure that we protect your family. And, I let Pastor know that I love to give, and I want to give, especially to our community. And the reason why I love to give, and the reason why I want to give to our community, is because of the impact that it had, that the information had on me. So just a little bit about myself, just a little bit about my story. About 6 years ago, I was invited to a financial literacy workshop. Just like we're not going to be doing a workshop today, Pastor.
Yeah.
But we're going to probably just talk in general. Let's probably have a conversation. I'm going to share. I'm not going to present. I'm going to share. And 6 years ago, I was invited to come and take a look at financial literacy, to come and take a look at financial education. And the reason why I was invited was because at the time, I was an IT manager, but unfortunately, I was one of those people that was living paycheck to paycheck. So I'll get paid on Friday, and then by the time Monday, Tuesday come again, I find myself, kind of scraping. I'm broke again. And I was invited just to come and understand how I could keep more of my money. And I went to a financial literacy workshop, Pastor. And that workshop literally changed the direction my life was going in, right? It actually did. And, I was sitting there and I was learning some financial concepts that I honestly believe I should have learned when I was 20. I should have learned when I was in school. It's something I should have learned before I even touched money, right? And the first thing I learned was I get to understand that money itself is a game, right? And I get to understand that if you don't learn the rules of this game, then you could find yourself losing in this game.
Yes.
And that was the first thing that kind of waked me up. It's like, well, if I didn't even know it's a game, it explains why I was losing at this game.
Right.
So I started learning some stuff. And what I learned, guys, it really is impactful to me. And, I want to share it to you guys. So I hope I could share some of my feeling. I hope I could share some stuff. I would love for it to be an open discussion where if you have a question, anything in regards to finance, anything in regards to investments, anything in regards to just money in general, I would love to be able to share and have a discussion with you guys. So I started to understand more about, some simple concepts in regards to having what we call a proper financial foundation of how I could understand money and how money itself works. And that's what I wanted to basically kind of share today. I want to share with you guys some of the concepts that I learned, how I could come out of debt, how I could invest my money properly where it could grow, understand the formulas behind finances, how I could build up a proper financial portfolio that works for me. And, and I hope that, by the time we finish today, I was able to impart on you some things that might strike out to you. It's very unfortunate. I get to learn that 95% of people lose at this money game. It's so unfortunate because it's a game that is not being taught. It's kind of like, I'm a soccer player, and it's kind of like if I'm trying to play soccer and no one teach me the rules of soccer, obviously I'm gonna suck at it, right? So I hope I could maybe share my screen with you guys. And again, I want to make it very open discussion. And if there's any questions whatsoever, I would love if you guys could jump in and just go ahead and ask some questions. So let me maybe I could share my screen here. Someone says it's not working. So is it my voice not working? What is not working? I just want to make sure. So I'm gonna continue under the assumption that it is working. Right? Everything's good? Okay, wonderful. Maybe they will just answer my questions if I don't know the rules of money, if I don't know the rules of soccer, then I won't know what to do. So first thing first, this is just a little bit of, this is my story. My name is Omar Stevenson. And basically, just so you could understand who is talking to you today, my background was I was an IT manager. I went to school for computers. I graduated in that field and I worked in that field. And I ended up becoming an IT manager. And I was in the I was in that industry for about 15 years. But I gradually kind of, like I said, when I start understanding the game of money, the rules behind finance, I know that a lot of people don't know those things. I know it was something that's hiding in plain sight, right? Because if it wasn't, then I would know these things. So I quickly became licensed in the financial industry. I am fiscal licensed for life and health insurance. I am a mutual fund representative. I now have 6 years experience in the financial industry. Like I said, I was an IT manager. I went to Seneca College. That's where I graduated with a network administration diploma. So if there's any IT people on, you probably could connect to me. I love the Raptors. I've been a Raptors fan from the Yogi Bear days all the way up to championship days. So I'm an avid Raptors fan. I'm a father of one. I have a son. My son is Omari. He's about 11 years old today. And I grew up playing soccer. I'm Jamaican. I came to Canada when I was around 17, 18. So I grew up as a soccer player. I thought I was going to be a professional soccer player, but that's a different story. And right now I live in North York, so I'm in Toronto. I'm around the corner. So if there's any questions, anyone could ask at any time. I live at Yonge and the 401, so anyone could come in. But what I want to share with you guys today is I want to share some of the same concepts that I learned that literally changed just the way I think about money, just the way I have a relationship with money, and just the way how money itself works. And what is it? The thing is, when it comes to financial concepts, the only places you're going to learn financial concepts is literally from financial services professionals. You might say to yourself, so Omar, what is a financial services professional? And I'll give you some example. A mortgage broker is a financial services professional. A real estate advisor is a financial services professional. An investment advisor is one. An insurance advisor is one. So what you have, if you want to understand very quickly the financial industry, I want you to think of these two different things. You have your bank, right? These are banking. And what the bank does, it provides you products. So if you want to go open an account, this is what you'll do. You'll jump in your car, you jump on the bus, you'll go down to a bank or an institution, you'll go inside, maybe you have an appointment, maybe you don't have an appointment, and you either sit down with someone or you stand up with a teller and you open the account or the product that you want. That is banking. Banking allows you to get financial products. So who is a financial services professional? Well, a financial services professional is someone that's going to give you advice on the product, that's going to educate you and service you on the product, right? So that's just the difference between what banking does, what financial services professional does. What we do is we offer the same products that the banks gives out, but what we come with service, we come with advice, and we come with, as a matter of fact, our license, guys. Our license in the financial services, we are required to come see you once a year. We're actually required, it's part of our fiduciary duty to come and make sure that your financial product is working well for you. And that's the thing about banking. They're not required to come see you to make sure your product is working. And when I realized that, I go, oh my goodness, all I had was financial products. I didn't have a financial professional. I didn't have a financial service professional working with me. So I'm going to share very quickly, guys, very quickly, some financial concepts that is taught by financial services professional. And the first thing I want you guys to maybe understand and grasp is financial education is not taught in school. And there's a perfect reason for it, because the financial industry have divisions. If they teach you financial education, there's certain parts of the financial industry you would not touch. So it's not anyone's business to actually teach you financial education, because we can't sway people's opinion. So that's why financial education is not going to be taught in school. That's why I didn't learn in school. That's why maybe you didn't learn in school. And that's why our children is not going to learn it in school, because it's designed that way, right? So financial education is completely up to us, right? But the good news is financial education is taught by financial professionals, right? So it's up to us to learn and understand how money works and how to make money work for us, right? So the first thing I wanted to let you guys know very quickly, it's a very short agenda I have. I'm just going to talk about how money works, right? Understand something about investments. How does investments work? And why would there be any investments? And understand a financial portfolio. How does a financial portfolio work? And how do we build an active financial concepts? So the first thing is, when we start to understand, guys, when we start to understand how money works, there are some things that we got to learn, and they're very simple things, like the time value of money, the magic of compounding interest, inflation and taxes, and something called the wealth formula. Once we understand these concepts, then we'll understand how money works. Because the see is, when it comes to money, we all work for it. And when we work for money, there's one of two ways we receive money when we work. We either receive money on active working or passive working. So we might have active income, or we might have something called passive income. Now, nobody talked to me about that, because for 20 years, all of my income was active income. I had to exchange my time to get paid. I was very lucky, guys. I was very lucky when I was on salary and I could take a day off and still get paid, right? Apart from that, all of my pay, I have to actively work. I have to continually to work all the time. So if you're listening to this, and I know that this session is meant for the youth, I can't see who's on the screen. So if you're listening to this and you haven't started making money yet, and you're a young person, and you are about to go to school, and you're about to pick a profession that you want to earn an income in, I want you to understand from the get-go, you have to understand passive income. As a matter of fact, every wealthy person in the world, all of them, 100% of wealthy people, more than 80% of their income is passive income. And that could be the difference. If you never touch money yet, all you got to do is, when you start to work, make sure that you're not only working with active income, meaning that you have to exchange your time for money, because we only get 24 hours. Nobody gets any more, nobody gets any less. So you want to be able to make money when you're asleep, right? And the only time you'll do that is if you create something called passive income. So let me give you some examples. There's so much passive income right now. Airbnb will get you passive income. You could rent your car out to Turo. You could have an Amazon shop. Spotify. There's so much different things that if you haven't started making money yet, YouTube, Instagram, social networks is a great way for the youth. If you guys haven't started making money yet, maybe you want to start learning some of those things so you could get money passively. Well, how does that work? Well, you create something called content. And when you create content, you work once. And then if you start getting paid for that content, you get paid passive income. Now, what if you're a parent and you're listening to me and you go, Omar, I know nothing about computers. I don't know anything about social networks. I can't create content. Can I do something to create passive income? The answer is absolutely yes. You want to start a business and have that business come with a system that allows you to work with business partners. And if you work with other people and make money when they make money, then you could create something called passive income, guys. So you have to understand how money works, because money doesn't grow on trees, right? We must work for it, right? So if we want to build wealth, there's a formula for it. It's on our screen. I'm not going to go through it because I don't want to confuse you guys. But one of the things I want to talk about in this formula is I want to talk about time. And a lot of people think they have a lot of time, right? But time is one of the most important things. And that's why I love talking to youth, because when you're younger, you have all the time in the world. Today I'm 43 years old, 43 or 42. 43 years old. All right. After 30, I stopped counting. Right. So today I'm 43 years old and I don't have as much time as you guys. You know, if you guys are 18, 17, 20, 21, you have all the time in the world. So what can you do? Well, you could go to your parents. It says, Mom and Dad, I need you to start investing money for me. Even if it's $10 a month, even if it's $20 a month, you just need to start investing when you're early. You got to find accounts that gives you proper rate of return and let your parents help you with it, right? So go to them and says, Mom, Dad, I know that time is on my side. By the time I reach 40, I could even be retiring. I don't have to work in my 40s. If I could use, right? If you could start saving for me today. So let me give you an example. So there's two people on the screen right now. You know, both of these people is saving the exact same amount of money. They both are saving $2,500 a year. They both open the same account. They both have the same interest on that account. Both of them. The only difference between these two people is when they start. That's it. Everything else stays the same. One person A starts at age 30. Person B starts at age 40. They both invest the same amount of money. They both invested for the same amount of time. So they both save for 25 years. One person stopped saving at age 55 because that's 25 years after 30. Now the other person stopped saving at age 65. That's 25 years after age 40. Now, this is where time comes in, guys. And there's a power behind it. Just like the water is always flowing. Just like energy is always flowing. Time is also always flowing. And it could do two things. It could work for you or it could work against you. So you're young, you're listening to my voice. I love talking to the youth because you guys haven't started making mistakes yet. So look at the difference between the two people. At age 65, the person that started at age 30 has $200,000 in that account. At age 65, the person that starts at age 40 have $125,000 in that account. It's the same amount of money they saved. It's the same amount of time they saved. It's the same amount of interest they got, but one person starts earlier. And that's why when you're young, you want to start as soon as possible because you have time on your side. It doesn't matter, it doesn't matter where you put it because you want to get a proper rate of return on your money, right? But I want you guys to understand and grasp the importance of time. So if I'm talking to you, this is for youths, right? So if you're a young person, you want to bug your parents tonight and says, Mom, Dad, you want to start investing for me right now. You want to put away $10, $25, $50 a month in an account that gives me a good rate of return, a good interest rate, because I got lots of time, right? So I wanted to share that. And then now when you start using money, guys, if you know Omar, I want you to know Omar for 3 things, only 3 things, right? As a matter of fact, I want you to know Omar for 1 thing, because if you do this, you will never go through life broke. It will be impossible for you to go through life broke. You have to have something called a strategic plan. And there's a simple, see, wealth is simple. Life is simple. See, God makes us all successful. God puts success in every single person, right? So all of us that's listening to us, you have success that's pre-built inside of you. It's in your heart. It's pre-built in you already. To go through life unsuccessful is to do what God doesn't want for us. God wants us to glorify his name, and we do that through success. So what we want to do is, if you hear just one thing from me today, and you take just one thing and one thing only, is when you start making money, when you start earning money, you pay yourself first. And you make that a habit. You made it a rule. You made it whatever it is. That's what you want to do first. You want to pay yourself first. All wealth is created this way. By keeping some of your money for yourself. The difference between when I was broke, I instantly know why I was broke. I didn't keep any money for myself. I was living paycheck to paycheck. I get paid, all of it goes out. All of it. I didn't keep any for myself. So you're a youth, you're young. You have time. You haven't started using money yet. If you just hear one thing I say and do one thing, and I meet you 20 years from today, and you said, Omar, I listened to you. When I got money, I pay myself first. I bet you will have a very good conversation, because you'll be probably a fine gentleman or a fine lady. So the first thing you want to do, guys, is you want to pay yourself first. 5%, the rule is 10%. So you have tithing, where you give 10% of your income to tithes. You want to make that pay yourself first too. So 10% of your income goes to tithes, 10% of your income goes to pay yourself first, and you live on 80% of your income. You do that, you'll never go through life broke. It'll never happen. You'll bypass it. Doesn't matter what you do. Doesn't matter what type of work you do. You do those 2 things. 10% goes to tithing, 10% goes to pay yourself first. You'll never go through life broke. It'll never happen. Never happen. You don't do those 2 things, there's a chance that you could go through life broke, right? So what you do with the 80%? You budget yourself. You create a budget and you live within your means. You live within that 80%. That's it, right? And then part of the 80%, and actually the 10% that you save, you want to invest that, and pay yourself first is the same as saving. It's actually it's exactly the same thing as saving, but this is what I'm going to tell you. When you save, don't just save, invest that money, because that 10% is not spending money at all. It's just like that 10% that goes to tithe is not spending money. That 10% of money is for you and God. See, 10% of your money goes to tithing. That's giving. There is a law in giving and receiving. God actually works through giving and receiving. So when you do 10% of your income in tithe, you're igniting a law of a God, a law that God creates that is going to continue for the rest of time. It's called giving and receiving. It's a law. Whatever you give, you have to receive. It's a law. Just like there's opposites, right? So that 10% for tithing, the next 10% is given to yourself, and you want to invest that. So you want to make money work by investing it. I could stop talking right now, and you have all of the knowledge you need to build wealth. All of it. It's that simple. If I learned this when I was your age and I do this, and this was a rule, and my parents remind me of this, I would never grow up broke. It'll be impossible. If you do this, there's no way you could grow up broke. It won't happen. So it won't happen because these are natural laws, right? So because of that, and don't want to go too long, I want to open it up for questions and answers because I think there's some questions there, right? So I'm going to leave it there because I could say a lot more, but I want pastors to know that, financial services professional, this is what we want. We want people to understand how to build wealth. We want people to understand how to keep their money. We want to advise people in how they can live their best life. So let me stop sharing here because that's good enough for the youths. And there are some questions, Pastor, I would love to take.
Yes, and I want to join you because this presentation has been really good. And I realize that even before you open up for question, that people are just sending on the questions. So we're going to ask you to continue to do that. So I think he answered some of the questions already that's there.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's one that says, what is the difference between savings and investing?
Yes.
Or investment? Did you touch on that one?
I'll tell you, there's a huge difference between savings and investing.
Mm-hmm.
Savings is just a regular savings account that doesn't come with any interest. As a matter of fact, you'd be lucky if you find a savings account that gives you 1% interest. Investing is when you are when you start thinking about ownership.
Okay.
Is when you start owning things.
Right.
You could own real estate, like you could buy a house and some investment. You could buy companies that are stocks, right?
Right.
You could buy funds like mutual funds, and you could buy different currencies and all those things.
Right.
So when it comes to investing, you're thinking about ownership.
Okay.
So savings, there's no ownership whatsoever. You're just putting your money in a product that a bank offers, and you'd be lucky if it gives you 1%. But when you start investing, maybe you're investing in companies, and those are stocks.
Okay.
Maybe you invested in commodities, like you could invest in water, you could invest in electricity, oil, and all those things.
Okay.
So investing is having part ownership in a venture that you like, right?
So what I'm getting from you is that ownership is not just putting your money, in the bank, or like the older folks used to do under their mattresses and leave it there.
There's no ownership
till rainy day, but putting it somewhere that is going to increase what you have put in.
Yes.
That's the idea I'm getting.
That's
right.
True.
And one of the reasons I based on some of the conversation we have had for doing that is that, when you save, let's say you decide to save for a couple of years, the money remains that amount, and oftentimes based on inflation loses sometimes its value.
Yeah.
Right. But when you invest, your money is actually kind of working and catching up with the rate of inflation, if I can put it that simple.
That's very simple.
Right.
Finances is not this big long language that they're trying to scare people with.
Okay.
It's very simple, like you said. If you invest, if you save, you have to realize that the money that you save today, when you're ready to spend it, you're gonna be spending less.
Right.
So let's say you save, someone says $200 today, and 6 months from today you take that $200, it's worth less than $200 because of inflation.
Right.
Because the thing that you're gonna buy with that $200, 6 months ago you could buy it, but now it's more expensive. So you want to be able to start position your money where that $200 keep up with at least inflation.
Right.
So when you're ready to spend it, you're spending equal value money or more.
Awesome.
Right?
That's a good point. That's a good point. There's another question that we're going to get to, but I wanted to prick your mind a little bit on this. When it comes on to investment, since the question is asked about investment, right? What would be advice for maybe families, young people, as to where to start with investment? Because, like you mentioned, there are different forms.
Yeah.
There's real estate, there's stocks, there's probably going into a business venture, different stuff. But from what you've seen there and what can be a good place to start, what would you give advice to the young people, or just suggestion as to where they could start in terms of investment?
It's just very simple. If there's any parents on this panel, buy a book called The Richest Man in Babylon. When you want to invest your money, go speak to the person that knows what to do in that industry. So if you want to invest in real estate, go talk to a real estate advisor. If you want to invest in the financial services, speak to a financial service professional. If you want to do investments in like stocks and things like those, speak to an investment broker. If you want to do, so whatever you want to invest in, you want to go find the professional in that, and then now they could give you advice and then take you where you want to go from there. So it's not a one brush that paints the picture for everyone. It's just sitting down with a person and just and finding out what's the best advice. So for us, we invest in lots of stocks and mutual funds and different funds, where it's a little bit safer for people. So you want to speak to a financial services professional, and then we could take a look at your situation, what your risks are. You have to see what your risks are and what you're willing to take, and then you can invest from there.
Very important that you say that, because risk is another part of investment.
Yeah.
That what you just said is very crucial, because a lot of times we say, okay, I'm going to invest, but then we don't understand what may come along with it. So talking with somebody who is a professional or somebody who has already gone through that kind of thing is very helpful. I'm going to take the next question. The next question asks, how can I give 10% of my income to tithe if I only have $200? I think
that's a simple question. Like I said, if you don't remember anything, remember those three things: pay yourself first, budget yourself, multiply your money. You give $20 and you find a way to live off 120.
Yes.
Right? You make sure you give that first, and then you try. You see, we're very flexible people.
Right.
We're very flexible creatures. You'd be surprised if you save $10, you'd be surprised how you adjust yourself to, instead of live off $200, you live off $180.
Right.
It's very simple. So if you have $200, all you're gonna do is save the $20 and then reshuffle your lifestyle, reshuffle your budget to fit in 180.
Right.
It might be, maybe you get rid of one extra meal, maybe a McDonald's or something, right? It could be something simple that you're doing that you don't even know that you're doing it through habits.
Right.
And you're just spending that money through habits.
Right. And to give a kind of pastoral response to that question, which is also in line with what you have said, is that, and I think you said it earlier, and that there's laws that govern what we do.
Yes.
Right. And you mentioned the law of tithing.
Yeah.
That it is one of those laws like gravity that God has put in place.
Yeah.
That if you do this as a sign of faith, as a sign of gratitude, in spite of how small it is, God is going to find a way to help you to live on that 180.
Of course.
You get me?
Of
Not
course.
just that. It is also a training and a test of your commitment and faith and gratitude to God. Because if you don't learn to give from a $200, when God gives you 20,000 or 2 million,
I'll tell you
it's going to be much harder for you.
No,
to
but
give
what's going to
from
happen
that.
is God is not going to give you the 20
Exactly.
Because what's going to happen is money is an energy.
Right.
And when you don't know what to do with it, and you start telling it that I don't want you around,
Right.
it stays away from you.
Right.
So when you keep your money, you tithe it, and you're giving 10% to tithe, 10% to yourself. What you're saying is, I'm invoking the law of giving and receiving through my tithing.
Yes.
I'm keeping money as an energy to let it know that I want it around. And when, just like a friend, if you have a friend, and every time you call your friend and say, let me call you back. And every time you call them again, let me call you back. And every time you see them, I'll talk to you a little bit later. And you get a sense that they don't want you around. Would you want to be around them?
Not at all.
Same thing as money. It's an energy. So if you want it around and you're keeping it, then it's like, oh, you want me around. So because you want me around, I'm going to come around more often. That's the same thing for tithing.
Right.
You're giving and you're invoking a giving and receiving law that's bigger than everybody else.
Okay.
It's part of what God created.
Awesome. Awesome. I think somebody answered the question of the book that you mentioned, Richest Man in Babylon. He also have this book that they, I think you could say some more about that workbook.
This is a book that's, like I said, when I came in, it's a simple book. It talks about finance. It's a book by us and our company. And just as our friend will talk to another friend, they explain the language very simple. They talk as common people. You won't find any big words in it. The biggest word you're going to probably find in this book is probably a word called averaging. I'm just joking. But it's not big financial words to confuse you.
Right.
It's simple language, but it shows you the basic concepts that you need
to
understand what to do with your money and to attract more of it. Because, it's an energy and you have to attract it to you. And the more you attract it to you, the more it wants to be around you.
Right.
So we have this book. They're typically for members. So we probably could talk about something, how we could get the financial literacy into this facility.
Right.
How we could maybe create a program where you guys could learn more. You could learn more how you could attract money. There's a way to do it, and you're just gonna learn how to do it.
All right, awesome. So I know somebody also asked, can you explain the risk of investment? I think you kind of explained that they're wide and varied, so you need to look at which you are interested in and speak to somebody that's in that era. Someone asked a question.
Go ahead. Can you explain what really is passive income? So that's simple. Passive income, see, there's two types of income. There's active income and there's passive income. So you understand it this way. Active income means you have to exchange your time to get paid. So you actively are working and you get paid for that active work. When you're sick, when you're no longer at work, you don't get paid for that time. Passive income means that you do work once and it creates residual income for you. So even though you put in the work, you put it in one time, and then continually money keeps coming back to you. For example, there's youths here, so they probably understand music. A musician, they go into the studio once and they create an album once, and then that album keep paying them more money, passive income. Like a movie star, they go for 1 year, the scripts, and they're acting out the movie, and the movie get created, and then every year that movie could continue to pay them back. Those are passive income. That's what we need to do. Nobody told me that. If I was smart enough, I could have probably see every rich person doing it, but I wasn't that smart. Right? So all my money was active income. But if we look at rich people, we could see that most of their money is through passive income. Right? So passive income is just doing work once and you get paid continually on it. You get paid when you're asleep. You get paid because you did the work already. You create a program and that program is selling, whatever it is, but it's coming in passively, right? It's coming in passively.
Very, very good. Very good discussion. We're still waiting for some more questions. In the meantime, there's a question here that I have that I know is burning in a lot of people's mind. And by the way, before I say that, this other book that he has brought is a financial foundation education program, which has in it 5 different workshops that discuss different areas of finance. So for example, one of the things that we're talking about a lot tonight is income. So if you're thinking about increasing cash flow and managing debt, then the first workshop would be for you, right? Building strong financial foundation and proper protection. How do you protect your family? How do you protect your legacy and so forth and so on, right? In workshop 2, building wealth and asset accumulation is workshop 3. Retirement is workshop 4, retirement and education plan. And then workshop 5 is estate preservation and wealth transfer. Wow, those are some interesting things that I think our community needs to really dive into some more. And so I'm really looking forward to maybe a part 2 where we kind of take it step by step, but we want you to get it. But my question is, what's the best way for a young person, maybe just starting to get a job, juggling a university or college as well, and there are bills there that they're taking on now. Mommy and daddy say, okay, you get your job, you're going to school, so I'll help you out, but you're gonna have to kind of manage yourself. They go to the bank, get their account, and immediately they're introduced to a credit card, right, with X amount of money that can help them do this, help them do that. What's the best way for a young person to not get caught into what some people consider a credit card trap? What the best mindset that a person needs to have in that situation?
I'll tell you, the best mindset is paying back interest. Is if you use that credit card, I want you to think that, for example, let's say, Pastor, I lend you $1,000.
Right.
And I say, here's $1,000, but I want you to pay me back $2,000. Would you take my money from me?
No, I would be struggling to do that.
So one of the best ways to think about credit and debt is that way. See, they're lending you money and they're going to make a profit off you taking their money.
Yes.
And that profit is in form of interest. So one of the best way to avoid that is what you are trying to introduce, Pastor: financial education. Understand concepts, don't get into debt early. And if you're gonna get into debt, use debt to build wealth.
Okay.
Make sense?
That's interesting.
Use
Tell
debt
us more about that.
to build wealth, like buying a house, that's a debt, right?
Okay.
But that house is gonna build wealth. Does that make sense? So you
So
wanna
you get a mortgage or anything like that. It's a debt liability, but it's also building you.
It's building new assets, right?
Right.
So when you start thinking about debts and credit cards, now, let's say your parents, I was like me, my parents didn't know anything about money, so they didn't save for me.
Yes.
Because when you know about money, the first rule of money is pay yourself first. If you do that, debts and all those things, it maybe might happen for you, but will never happen for your kids, right? Just that one rule: pay yourself first. So if you're a young person and it says, how do I avoid going into credit cards and taking this credit card, is just to think that of the interest that you have to pay back.
Right.
If you take $5,000, the interest sometimes could make you pay back $8,000. So you have to think about it that way. And at an early, as soon as you start touching money, pay yourself first.
So what I think I hear you saying is, one, credit card is not the best option.
No.
However, the banks and some people will tell you it's a way to build your credit.
Yeah.
So how do you manage it? But I also think I hear you saying too that parents need to really, from an early stage, help the children to understand how to manage their money.
Yeah.
Right? So that you give them a experience with it. If you give them $5 or as an allowance, you teach them, okay, you need to buy a car, or a bicycle or a skateboard. This is how you need to manage it so that you can save and get it. Is that the way it should be done?
That's the way it's supposed to be done, Pastor. You're right. And you say something that I think a lot of people might be saying the same thing in their mind is, well, Omar, if I don't get a credit card, I can't build credit. But you have to remember, credit card credit is the highest interest.
Okay.
You're paying 18, 19, 20+%.
Right.
You could start with like a line of credit that gives you a lower interest.
Okay.
You could start with a car that also gives you a lower interest, and that builds up credit. Because credit is just your ability to repay back money that was loaned to you. right? So you don't have to start with the highest loan possible,
Right.
because credit cards is the highest loan possible right now.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, so that's something that we must be cognizant of. That yes, they may sell it as something that will build your credit, but it is not the only thing that will build your credit. And in fact, it is perhaps the most expensive way
It's the most
to build your
expensive way.
credit. Wow, these are good. These are some
What
good
you, what you
points.
could
Good
probably
points.
do is let's say, you know, instead of you getting the credit card, buy a car for like $5,000, $10,000.
Right.
The interest on the car is going to probably be 1%, 2%, 4, 5, 6% maybe. Let's go high, 8%. That's still better than 20%. And then you pay that car back, and that builds up your credit. Does that make sense? And while you're building up that credit and the bank starts seeing your ability to repay credits, you could get a line of credit. And that line of credit now is going to give you around 3, 4, 5, 6%. That's the interest you have to pay back on the line of credit. And if you use that slowly, you pay that back, you build up your credits. And then the next big credit is going to be like a house. And now you're building wealth, right? So you don't have to, credit card, you don't even have to go that route until like maybe later on in life. Credit card is the easiest way for you to have a miserable life.
Wow. The easiest way to have a miserable life. Young people, I hope you're listening, because these are some good stuff that we're talking about tonight. And he's saying to us that, you know, you don't have to choose the most expensive way to build your credit. Because somebody asked, how can a young person develop good credit rating? And I'm sure you've heard the answer tonight. That if you're one of those persons that is moving out into adulthood, getting a job, you know, you're going into university, maybe your parents may be able to help you to buy a small little car, good condition, and you take a small payment on that, do it with discipline, pay it off, and that helps you to build your credit, and you have at least something that of some kind of value. Even though we understand too that once a car leaves the lot, it starts losing its value, right? But that is very important, young people. Choose the wisest way. And remember, he talks about this, paying it with discipline. That's also important, because it's one thing to get it, but then to deal with it is another thing. Let's take the next question. What's the best way for a person to get out of debt? That's a big one.
Discipline. Discipline. The best way to get out of debt is discipline.
Yes.
There's different strategies. I teach strategies and how to come out of debt. There's different strategies that you could use, but no strategy work without discipline.
That's true.
So if you're in debt, the first strategy is make a commitment to come out of debt, and then be disciplined. And then with the discipline, and you start using strategies. Once you start using, because I teach strategies in one of the workshops, workshop number 1, we have a couple different strategies of how people could, that's currently in debt right now, how they could come out of debt. It won't work without discipline first. Right. So it's a commitment to come out of debt, discipline. Once you have the discipline, you're going to need strategies. Unfortunately, the strategies won't be found at your bank, because banks is going to give you a product. The strategy is going to be found from a financial service professional, person like myself, right? Other people that have, that gives financial advice. They could give you different strategies and how you could come out of that.
Yes. No, I am testament to that, because we have had this discussion before. And I remember you told me one of the strategies, especially if you're a person, let's say you have 2 credit cards. That's a thing. Some people do have that. And maybe you have another debt, probably a soft loan, whatever it is. One of the things that you've said, which I found very interesting, is what you do. Sometimes we try to tackle the highest and the biggest one first, and then we find ourselves unable to do it, discouraged, and find ourselves in a cycle. But you said, look at the small one that you have, deal with that, get rid of that, celebrate, build up that momentum, and then get into the other one and until you complete everything.
Yeah.
Not ignoring the others. You pay, you budget yourself and pay what you can pay if it's a minimum or whatever. But get the smaller one out of the way, celebrate, build up your momentum, and go on.
I'm
So
very-
can you mention something more about that?
I'm getting goose. I'm very proud of you, Pastor. I told you that like 2 years ago.
Yeah, I
You remember it.
I remember you told me
So what you could probably do is with the discipline is, you could start listing off your cards,
that. Yes.
see what the lowest balances are. Instead of you paying, because what a lot of people do is if they have 2 or 3 cards, they'll pay like 100.
Right.
They just go same payments to all 3 cards. But what you could do is you could list all the cards down. Take a look at the minimum payments on the 2 top cards. The lowest card, you just put all the money there first,
Mhm.
and you just pay that one with discipline. You pay that one, and then what that one is finished, now you free up that card, and then you move the money up to the second card, and you just pay that one off.
And one other thing that I discovered too that helps with that, when you do that, you actually increase your credit score too.
Yeah, you do.
So instead of you struggling with all of these and nothing happening for you either way, you deal with that small and get rid of that. You feel better about yourself. You're building your credit score, and you're feeling more empowered to
You are.
tackle them.
And then, like I said, when our first card is off, you want to celebrate, right? You
Yes.
want to accomplish
Yeah.
because our mind, our brain, we have something called risk reward.
Mhm.
And we take a risk because we're going to get a reward.
Yes.
And if we start rewarding ourselves, then the brain is going to go back and says, well, let's take another risk so we can get an award.
Mm.
So we want to have that celebration so we know we could feel good, and then we continue to again.
Well,
But a lot of the things that we have, Pastor, it's packaged in our financial education program.
yes.
And for anyone that would love to get access to financial education, we teach you these strategies. We tell you exactly what you need to do, how you could come out of debt, start attracting money to you, right? And that's going to be found in our financial program. Anyone could get access to it. You'll share my information.
Definitely.
Anyone could reach out to me. And we do one-on-one workshops. We could do one-on-one. We could do it here for the church,
Mhm.
and make sure everyone in this church is attracting money to you, right? Because I find that sometimes people have like a limited belief behind money.
Yeah.
They feel like if they don't have a lot of money,
Mhm.
they're good, right? They're
Mhm.
doing something good. But no, that's opposite.
Mhm.
When you have a lot of money, you could do more good,
Yes.
right?
Yes,
You
yes.
could help more people.
Yes.
You could give to charity. You could help more people. You could do so much more when you start attracting more success and money to you.
Very good. Very good stuff. Now, I'm going to do 2 things, and then I'm going to ask him to touch on something that I think is very important, and we may that be kind of the wrapping up segment, and then we'll take any other final questions from you. But one other thing I'm going to ask those who are with us online to do is put in the chat some of the information, the stuff that you'd like to know that maybe we didn't get to cover tonight. And certainly we have not covered everything, but
No.
we want to know what your interests are and what are some of the things you'd like to learn, so that when we do something again, we'll be able to pinpoint those areas in more surgical manner or more specific manner, so that we can touch on those areas. Now, the thing I wanted to ask you to touch on a little bit is, our community, maybe we're not as educated, or maybe there's a phobia. I don't know what the situation is, but we don't talk a lot about life insurance, right? Life insurance and how that may factor into even wealth building and generational wealth and legacy and so forth and so on. So I know you're not going to be able to maybe go into everything because this is a wide area,
Mhm.
but just give us a taste of, what are the importance of this,
Mhm.
and how are we not benefiting, and how can we benefit from something like this?
I'll tell you. I'll give a story for this answer. Back in the olden days, Pastor, they used to have these castles. And when they have these castles, they have these walls.
Mhm.
And the reason why they have these walls is for what? Is for protection.
Mm.
It's for any enemy that's trying to come in, to come and try to trample and conquer that city.
Right.
They build these big walls around to make sure that they're protected.
Right.
Life insurance is your wall. That's it. You know, it protects you from enemies coming in to make you miserable, right? It protects you from just in case something was supposed to happen. Nobody knows when their time is coming. So it protects you from, you know, if anything was supposed to happen, your family is protected. Because what happened is you have your family inside, and if there's no walls being built, anything that could come in could just destroy you and your family. So life insurance is just building a wall around your family to make sure if something happens that you're protected. You have health insurance that does the same thing, that if anything comes in, you are protected. So life insurance, a lot of people look at it as something that, oh, I don't need it because I'm going to live until I'm 100. And I would love your formula so I could live until I'm 100 too, right? So, but you have to think about it that way. Life insurance is very important. It does one thing, it protects your family. Number two, it leaves an inheritance in our community. Our community, Pastor, I don't know what was said to us that makes us don't want to leave inheritance. When someone passed away, and a lot of time our community get targeted too. If we have life insurance in our community, every time someone passes away, wealth is being built. But when we realize that if someone passes away, no wealth is being built, we could still be targeted. So life insurance could be a protection for even our community. Right? So if something happens, wealth is being created. More people start living a better life because everybody start believing in protection, protecting their family and themselves.
And I know some people may look at it or see it and hear it funny that we're talking about building wealth if somebody should pass away. And that's just a reality. I like the idea of what you said about, you know, protecting your family, because nobody wants to know that after you pass, your family is struggling to even do a decent funeral. Nobody wants to know that, you know, after your passed, you know, all the little savings that they have is depleted just to make sure that stuff happens. So the idea is that we are considering, just in case, because none of us know anything happened, that there is a kind of, you know, shelter, so to speak, that protects everyone else, and especially people who have young children, you know what I mean? What will happen to them and so on and so forth. I think there's another question, so I want to take that. Yes.
Just exploring it, when you think about the life insurance, it's the foundation, right? It's like you're building a house, you don't have a strong foundation. Life insurance is the foundation. And, you know, if you think about it, if you get into the habit of paying yourself first, before you start making money, you start paying yourself, then you know in the back of your mind that you're building wealth somewhere. So how do I protect it? Well, you need to have a life insurance protecting it. Okay. It's just because our relationship with money and building wealth is pretty low. We never think about life insurance. But if we start thinking about, man, I'm paying myself first, I'm saving all this money, I'm investing all this money. If something happens, I don't want this money to go anywhere but in my family. Then we'll protect it. We'll build walls around it. And that's why life insurance is very important. It's the first thing you wanted to do because it will protect you from any storm, right? While you're building up, it protects you from any storm. And anything comes in, the shield is life insurance, and then it shields you from everything below.
All right, awesome, good stuff. Go ahead, send those questions, those suggestions, and we're going to pick them up. I think there's a question there, financial tips when having a small business.
Oh, it's vast. It depends on what your business is. What is your small business? What's your idea? What are you trying to do? There's so much different financial tips, but because every business is different, right?
Are there any general ones that
like the person says clothing? Financial tips when it comes to clothing. So let's say you're starting a clothing business, right? First, like we just talked about, you want to insure your business, right? Make sure your business is insured. Second, when you're thinking,
so say that clearly, because I want to make sure they get that.
Yeah.
make sure your business is insured.
Yes.
That's what he just said.
The
So
first
that's
thing
one of
is
the
you
first
want to
thing.
insure your business. The second thing you want to think about is how can I turn my clothing business into a passive income? When can I get my next employee?
Okay.
When can I get someone that could work and I could get paid when I'm not using my time? So a financial tip for a small business person is how can you create your business with passive income in mind?
Right, right. And as you said, that's something click in my mind too. I was listening to this guy here that he's on Shark Tank, and I think he's the one who is the owner or whatever for Fubu. Right. And he was saying one of the things that he did when he just started his clothing business, he would go to places where some of these famous people are and just give them clothes and have them model them, right? So people see Jay-Z into a FUBU or so one of the thing I don't know much about marketing, but you have to be strategic when you're marketing your clothing brand, right? And be very, very strategic with it. And like you said, I like what you said about ensuring what you have. And let us also identify this too, that when you're doing a business, it is a business. So it can't be something that, you know, family members come and get their cut every month or something like that. And sometimes, unfortunately, our community kind of operate that way sometimes, you know, your family are, they know you long time, you can give me this or you can give me that, right? And nothing is wrong with giving because we've already established that. But you have to also help those you work with and the people who are working for you to understand that you're running a business and it has to be like that, you know?
And the last thing I'll say on that is when you're starting your business, whoever the person is, you have to ask yourself, am I interested in starting a business or am I committed to start a business?
Okay.
Right? So you gotta, what's the difference? Interest, you could give yourself excuse.
Right.
I don't feel like opening tomorrow. Committed, you don't give yourself any excuse. So that's a great financial tip.
Very good. And one last thing I feel I need to share too is that we need to support and partner with each other too.
Yes.
So at this time, I think it's fitting to highlight one of our young person that I think online tonight that has started her own clothing line.
Yeah.
And her clothing line is Chosen.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Michaela Rumbold. She has her own business. So everybody's that's online. And also Tanisha Beecher also has her own printing business as well. So we want to support those young people who are from our communities that are venturing out to do stuff like these. So if you're online, YouTube, Facebook, wherever, search for Chosen, or I don't remember what Tanisha business is called. No, maybe she's working on the name, but that young lady, you could type it in the chat so that those who are online could actually see it. But I commend you girls and I commend the young people who are on tonight. And I know that you are going to do good. All right, see Chosen Design. It's on Instagram at chosen.designs on Instagram.
I'll tell you, Michaela, one of the things you could do if you're a youth is find influencers, people that people look up to, people that people like. Take a little part of your clothing business and give it to them for free. Let them wear your clothes and have them market your clothes on their Instagram. So you want to maybe do some stuff where you start to kind of give like samples. So your clothing, you may want to get like a small inventory, and that's inventory is just for free. And you find influencers like Pastor. You make sure Pastor has a shirt and he wears it, right?
I didn't tell him to say that, by the way.
You know, and influencers, who do you look up to on Instagram? Who do you follow? Maybe you could try to reach out to that person and say, hey, you know, I would love to send you some stuff.
All right, good stuff, good stuff, good stuff. Are there any other questions? We're about that time when we're going to wrap things up. I want to really thank you all tonight for being with us, for spending the time this evening. I want to commend the awesome generation young people at Aging Core Church of God. I actually just connected with them last week and tell them, look, we want to do this week. and they just jump on board and are here. And I know the next one will be bigger and better as we go forward. Are there any other last questions that we may have? Okay, so somebody wants some of the passive income.
I'll give you some simple one. Amazon is a great place. That's a really great place. Spotify, financial services. If you're of age, if you're over 18, and you love to give and service people, you find that your heart is to service people. Financial services is also a good passive income business.
Right. And to give a little bit more detail and context to that, the financial services can include, helping people to find insurance and stuff like that. And through that kind of activity, you also create passive income for yourself, as people would have bought insurance and so forth and so on. I hope I'm on the right track.
You're on the right track.
Good.
So those are there's lots of examples.
And one of the big one that I think is now a big thing, you could say it's viral, if you want to put it that way, is the Facebook kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or YouTube, right? Where people create certain content. So let's say you are somebody that knows how to do something. Let's say you know how to cook well, and you want to share that cooking skill online. You can create quality videos, giving people instructions, and that, to YouTube give you, and I'm not promoting their thing because I'm not getting paid, but it's one of the passive income. Many people have, maybe it's a music skill that you have, maybe it's something that you want to share with people, and you get paid for that based on your subscription and, viewership and so on and so forth. All right.
Okay.
One thing to add about it. Every second Monday, we have an overview of opportunity for people.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So
I'll share that. So every second Monday, we just did one yesterday, and we're gonna be doing one on the 13th. We have a overview of how you could come into the financial industry. It's a simple way. It's a simple system that we have. It's just a 3-part system. Anyone could do it as long as you care for people. So, Pastor, I'll give you the information. And in 2 weeks, if you want to come and take a look at the financial services industry, we're attracting a lot of young people. A lot of young people is coming in and loving this industry because they're seeing that their parents work all their life and retire poor, and they don't want to do the same thing, right? So, we welcome you guys to come take a look at it. We'll give the information to Pastor, and you guys can check it out.
All right. Thank you so very much, Brother Omar Anderson, and your mom. Could you just introduce your mom, the MC, your mom? Come here, mommy. This is the lady that is responsible for his wisdom and his. Oh, wow. Yeah, she's a beautiful lady. Say hi to our young people.
Hi guys, how are you? Thank you guys for being here. And this is the best time for you guys to know when it come on to money. Financial education is a must, especially in our community, our Black community. As I would always say, they look on us like, oh, we are the laughing stock because we don't know nothing, So financial, because we all use money. Don't get it wrong. We all use money. And as always said, we don't know the rules of money. We don't know that it is a game and we're losing up the game. So get on board and just educate yourself. You can educate. One teaches one, right? One teaches one. You get educated. You teach your brother. You teach your sisters. You teach mommy and daddy. And it go forth and on and on. And that's how we get a better community. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so very much. Remind me of your name again?
My name is Jennifer Taylor, and I'm in the business over 10 years now. I introduced it to my son here, and I'm so happy he got on board and he embraced the education. And I'm amazed. He is so, because he's teaching thousands of people. He's teaching thousands of people. He go all over New York University, everywhere, you know.
Thank you so very much, Jennifer. Thank you for coming. Friends and family of Aging Core Church and those on YouTube, it is such a joy that we were able to share together with this young man tonight who's been very helpful and educational for us tonight. I believe we're going to have some more, so we want you to type in the chat whether you want us to do it monthly, weekly, or every day. All right. I know that might not be possible, but tell us how often you would like us to talk about this kind of thing, because I think we don't really address this issue much as we should as a community. And I'm willing to provide the platform for us to do that. Before we go tonight, I want to pray for us, and I want to ask the Lord's guidance upon Omar and his mother as they continue to go across Toronto and Canada in general to educate as much people as they can and try to help them to get to that place of money management, awareness of money, and wealth building. At the end of the day, that's one of the key aspects of it. So we want to pray that God will cover them, God will bless them, God will use them. They didn't charge me to do this, and I really appreciate that, because they are helping us, and it doesn't mean that, and that's why I'm promoting and helping them to find opportunities and audiences that will learn from it. So let us pray before we go tonight. Father, we thank you for all those who have connected, those who have come on, those, oh God, who have learned tonight, and those on YouTube. Lord, we thank you for every single person that has spent their time with us learning about money, at least an introduction to it, God. Lord, I pray that as a family and as a Black community and community in general, whether Black, white, or whatever, Lord, that somebody would have connected with this feed tonight and be inspired, be encouraged, whatever their circumstances are. One of the things that we want them to get, they can go higher, they can get better. Whether they are in debt, whether they're starting a business, there is a way to manage and to become better. And so, God, we pray that you will help our young people, help the families, oh God, of our churches and all over the world. There are persons who are online from Jamaica. There are persons who might be from other parts of the world. And we thank you, oh God, for them. I thank you for Omar. I thank you for Jennifer. I thank you for, Lord, their willingness to come and share with us. Lord, their willingness to give us what they have learned and how they have managed to build their own wealth, Lord. I pray that you will bless them in their going out and in their coming in. I thank you, oh God, and I ask you to be with them in their journey. I pray for the technical team and the technical leader tonight, Shirley Ann, who is here with us and helping us to do this. Oh God, I pray you'll continue to cover her family, bless her, God, in her going out and in her coming in. Lord, I thank you. And I ask you to increase us, for it is your will, Lord, that we be in good health and prosper, even as our souls prosper. Lord, the word said you have given us the power to gain wealth. And so tonight, Lord, I pray that our people and your people will use that power, the educational power, the spiritual power, Lord God, our tenacity to build wealth and to grow financially. Have your way, Lord, we pray in Jesus' name. Amen and amen. God bless you. Thank you so much. I want you to reach out if you are interested in getting your insurance, life insurance, if you're interested in getting your will sorted out, because he also does that help people to sort out their wills. If you want to get any kind of advice, please reach out, whatever. If you want to just know more of the offerings that are there, reach out. There is a link in our bio, I think, that gives you access to our portal. And I'm going to also attach his website information onto this as well. So you can go there if you want to talk directly to him. You don't want Pastor to know your business, you can go straight to him and connect with him, and he'll help you out. All right. But I believe we're not just spiritual. God has made us physical beings that live in a physical world that needs physical money right now to do physical stuff. And God wants us to have it and use it wisely for his glory. And so that's why we have this program. God bless you. Looking forward to see you at the next one. We will tell you some more when that will be. Thank you, Sister First Lady Corinne Grant, for joining us for all the way from Jamaica. And I thank you for your feedback. I enjoy this presentation. Very informative. Keep up the excellent work, Bishop and Lady Blake, and these two lovely people that I have with me. You will see more of them. They're going to be coming to church. He has come to church already and be with us, and I'm sure they're going to pay us a visit again. God bless you. Have a great evening. We love you, and we look forward to see you again. All right, take care. Remember, if you're a male, on the 4th of September is our men's fundamentals, where we're going to be talking about a man and his mindset. And maybe I should invite you as a panelist on that to talk to as well. All right. So a man and his mindset, the 4th of September, right here at Aging Court Church of God. God bless you. Love you. Take care. Have a good night.